Good morning, Dr. Subhash. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us about emotional integrity in schools and in the classroom. Dr. Subhash is a teacher with many years of experience both in India and in the Middle East, and he has been leading a lot of teachers towards the best practices in the profession. Dr. Subhash also received the National Award for Teachers from the President of India in 2015. Thank you so much for being with us today, sir.
Thank you.
Right. So today we'll be talking about emotional integrity in schools and in the classroom. To begin with, I'd like to ask you, what about the current state of education do you think is detrimental to a child's emotional intelligence or emotional integrity?
Fortunately or unfortunately, our country is very diverse with different kinds of institutions and educational systems in practice. At least in some of these systems, scientific psychological aspects are not taken care of. And as a result, a lot of disturbance is experienced by some children. By and large, our Indian education system is focusing on examinations.
Yes.
Examinations which demand children to by heart practice rote memorization and not using their critical thinking abilities to answer questions. Of course, there are some moves, some attempts in recent years to have a change, at least to some extent, to change the way examinations are conducted. But examination system is one of the reasons why the emotional disturbance is created among children. And that also leads to unhealthy competitions. Yet another reason is humiliating experiences, not one or two. Many such experiences for children in the classrooms, at school, and also in the society. Even at home, they experience humiliation. And people take children as granted. And they feel that they have the right to abuse children verbally or otherwise. So that is a major concern, cause for worry. There is also lack of joy of learning. In our system, there is an element of compulsion for children to learn certain subjects, certain topics which they don't like much. So the chances of they selecting their subjects of study is very much limited. So we have a very rigid system of streams of subjects and combination of subjects which are largely decided by the schools or by the boards of examinations. Fortunately, there is a tendency and trend in the National Education Policy 2020 to have greater choice of subjects to students, and hopefully that will make a change, but we need to wait and see. Teachers make sometimes the life of children difficult and miserable. In the name of disciplining them, training children, teaching, sometimes teachers resort to very unscientific, very unacceptable practices. And teachers fail sometimes to take care of the cultural differences, the language differences that children have, but always giving some kind of a stereotyped process in the name of teaching and not respecting the cultural diversity and linguistic diversity. I think these are by and large the reasons for children not developing emotional integrity at school.
Thank you, Dr. Subhash. I think that really sums it up. High stakes examinations, humiliation both inside the classroom and at home, and unhealthy competition. I think these are some of the key factors that lead to disruption in the child's emotional development. So that leads me to my next question. How much impact can effort to develop emotional integrity at school have on a child if the child's emotional needs are not met at home or in other spaces where socialization takes place?
Definitely, this is a very significant aspect, especially when at home children are neglected, abused, and humiliated in the name of parenting or disciplining. So their psychological development or emotional development is not taken care of. And in the society, by and large, there is no conscious support for the growing children to get along with the challenges they face, the difficulties they go through. Therefore, what happens at school becomes very significant for the emotional development of children. And it has to be taken care of extremely well by the schools, and it's going to affect the child's development to a large extent. So the only hope for children to have a better psychological development, better emotional development, and attaining emotional integrity is through conscious interventions and supportive environment at school.
When we think about teachers, and in many teaching contexts, teachers are often overworked and underpaid, and this may have a negative emotional impact on their emotional intelligence and expression. Why then are teachers always seen as agents capable of nurturing emotional integrity in children?
This has always been a problem. The teacher status and respectability in Indian system. In the ancient times, gurus were considered as the most respected persons in the society, and their words were taken with utmost respect and consideration. However, the dilution in quality of selecting teachers and the overall quality of education in our Indian systems deteriorated, and that started affecting the respectability part of it. Not only that, as you rightly said, teachers are not well paid. So they always live with this concern and worry at the back of their mind. And they may not be able to have a stable mind, which is highly required, very essential for a scientific teaching learning process to happen in their classroom. Therefore, we have to put in all the efforts, okay, and it's evident from the new education policy. It talks about bringing back the glory of the teaching profession and the respect they deserve. So that's a very essential element, which is at least recognized and accepted now for a transformation. At the same time, we are fortunate to have hundreds of thousands of teachers who are selfless in their service, and they are highly mature in their emotional stability, and they forget everything, including their worries, their miseries, when they are amongst, in the midst of children in the classroom, whether it's a physical classroom or a remote platform for teaching. That's because our teachers, by and large, are delightful teachers, because they know that children depend on them for the right kind of development. The humane and human qualities children imbibe largely through the teaching of gurus, the teachers. Teachers need to be inviting intuitive, innovative, enabling, engaging, memorable, and even disruptive. Disruptive in the sense they have to force children to reimagine, rethink, and they have to inspire them to change their viewpoints and thought pattern. So the mission is highly noble. So the nobility of the profession makes teachers some way seasoned, but there are a large number of exceptions to this. There are so many teachers who are not able to do the selfless service, and their working conditions and the environment the school is in, all these factors affect them badly, and they can be bad teachers. That possibility definitely exists.
I agree with you, because when you were talking about teachers and you said memorable teachers, I think everyone will have that one teacher that they remember who had a strong positive impact on their life and probably changed their life at a very crucial point of their formative years. I think the aim of all teachers should then be to become memorable teachers for their students. And to lead to the next question, could you share some applicable techniques that teachers can use to facilitate the development of emotional integrity in the classroom?
What teachers now practice in their classroom is to give children memorable experiences, joyful learning experiences. There, the first building block of effective learning is affection. So when teachers build up this relationship between the teacher and the taught through this emotion of affection, then the right kind of scenario for learning is set. So affection is considered as the basic building block of learning, whether it is in the kindergarten or primary or secondary or even at the higher education scenario. So this connectedness between the teacher and the taught is an essential factor. So if this factor is attained, then other factors are possible. See, then comes acceptance. Providing joyful experience and accepting children as they are is very much important in the process. So why should children learn? The academic process is by and large boring. It's not very interesting thing for children. Still, so many children passionately learn and try to achieve. And that is through the teacher's inspiration. Okay, there should not be any limit for teachers' efforts to inspire children to work hard or work in a smarter way and to attain higher results. And children should understand that everyone can learn in their own ways and attain high performance. So that confidence needs to be instilled. And that is done through another emotional aspect of attention. So the children feel the need for learning if teachers pay attention to what children speak, what children do, what children even think. So affection, acceptance, and attention are the ways through which we can bring children to this process of training for emotional integrity. So they have to experience affection. They have to be accepted as they are. They have to be asked to pay attention to what they learn, and they have to feel the need for learning. So then comes other higher aspects, like providing varied, appropriate learning experience. Once they are ready to accept and learn, then these learning experiences are meaningful. Otherwise, no. Yeah. Then comes experiencing the joy of learning. When children experience the benefit of learning, then they derive the real joy. It's not just fun that we're talking about. So when they learn anything, a word, a sentence, a concept, a process, a theory, if they know that they are going to have some benefit of this learning, this understanding, then they derive joy. And then comes, okay, when it becomes a habit, so learning becomes a habit, a lifelong process, then comes accolades, a positive reinforcement and sense of achievement. And this motivates for further learning. So they can learn to any extent. So what teachers need to do in their classroom, beyond their classroom, is to practice these emotional entities that will make learning meaningful and joyful.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Subhash. And we really enjoyed listening to you. After that last question, when you were talking about paying attention and respecting the diversity of the students and accepting them for what they are, I think these are also core values that any future citizen of any country require. So in the classroom, by being the right kind of role model for a diverse group of students, teachers are actually then able to impact how society functions in the future. So I think that's a great thought to wrap this session up with. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope to speak to you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.